And welcome. It's Monday afternoon, 1 o'clock, a little after. Time for another exciting episode of the Deal Doctor Livestream. Welcome. Today I want to talk a little bit about our new, or Star Title's new Star Title 1 app. If you go to Google Play or the Apple App Store, this is what it's going to look like. If you plug in Star Title 1, it'll come up and give you a logo like that, and you can download it either to your Android or to an Apple phone, so smartphone. So that's a very cool thing. I want to show a couple of things that you can do. I don't know how many of you have ever been on listing appointments or appointments with buyers, and they ask, well, if we make an offer at some amount, what are we going to bring cash to closing? What amount of money will we have to bring if our down payment is 10%, and what's the closing costs, the broker admin fee, and all of those things? Well, this little gizmo lets you do just that. You can plug in all of the numbers. For example, in a case that I created here, I have a home sales price of $200,000. It's going to do a conventional mortgage, 10% down, 2.99 interest rate, 30 years, some hazard insurance thrown in there, and so on. In addition to that, we're going to punch compute, and it will come up with the monthly payment of $1,232, bring to closing $28,112. Now, let's say that you go, wait a minute, I want to be able to explain this, break it down, itemize it for the buyers. You punch on detailed closing costs, and it will actually bring up the 14 months of insurance, 4 months of property taxes prorated, what the title policy is going to be, the closing fee, so on and so forth. And it goes all the way down. And just for those of you who would fill out net sheets by hand back in the day when I started, I always managed to forget something. There was always one little thing that I would forget, and then I usually ended up paying for it. So down here at the very bottom, guess what it's missing? It doesn't have a broker admin fee. And so if you look at it, though, up here at the top it says Edit, and you can actually go in and add a category in the calculator, and I put broker admin fee $295. So whether you're charging a $295 or a $395 or whatever, you can go in and add broker admin fee and click on the option that it's going to come up every time you create a broker or a buyer net sheet, what I call a cash to close sheet. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that even though this app is really handy, I always recommend that you get these numbers from a good faith estimate from the lender. Every lender can provide their buyer, should provide their buyer, a good faith estimate which lays out exactly what their cash to close is going to be based on purchase price, down payment, what the appraisal costs are, and so on. And they detail that, they itemize that in a good faith estimate. And it's required by law that they provide it. So if your buyer isn't getting one of those, tell them to ask for it, because then you know that your numbers are accurate in the app when you get them from the lender. By the same token, if you want to go over and do a seller, okay? Now, in this particular case, I took a $200,000 home, conventional mortgage, added the broker fee of 6%, prorated the taxes, and it hits compute, and it comes up with that they're going to get $30,664 proceeds after closing. Now, if you want to go in again and look at the individual itemized list of costs, you can click on detailed closing costs right there. Sure, there it is. Again, it doesn't have the broker admin fee in it. So I can go up here, click on edit, and right down here under the other fees, I can push the little green plus sign and add broker admin fee. I'll just type it in there. And let's say that I'm going to do a $3.95 just for fun. And then I'm going to click done. And then it's going to ask me detailed closing costs. Do I want to keep that broker admin fee in there for this estimate only or for all future estimates? Well, I'm going to plug in that I want it for all future estimates. So now when it does the calculation, it will actually take that into account when it does the computation. So now, if you look at the number, that it was $30,669 before. It's dropped by the $400 that I added in the broker administration fee. So, again, same thing with this. It's up to you to verify that the information that you have is complete and accurate. It says numbers are estimates only. Well, that's not going to make your buyer or your seller happy when they get something else because they were expecting something else. For example, we have had numerous cases recently where we discovered that there was a home equity line of credit that was a lien on the property that the buyer and seller were unaware of because they hadn't gotten title work. The seller was aware of it. They just didn't realize it was a lien on the property that had to be cleared with the proceeds of the sale. Well, if you've got, for example, in this one, I put in here the balance that they owed on the property, just for example, was $150,000. Well, let's say they've got $25,000 in landscaping and the sprinkler system, underground sprinkler system, and all of that. That is potentially, maybe they're doing an installment loan on it, but it could be potentially a mechanics lien, could be slapped against the house if they don't pay it off with the proceeds of the sale. So you have to be very careful when you're using the app, any app, that the information that you have plugged into the app is accurate. Do they have anything has any work been done on the property that a roof, siding, new windows, landscaping, any of those things which they could have a mechanics lien placed against the property or a home equity loan, second mortgage, whatever you want to call those liens. There could be any number of them, but you want to make sure that you're plugging in the right numbers here. The app is really handy, but it's still our job to verify that the information is correct. Now, that kind of talks about net sheets, which is really cool, and I love it. I think it's great. Okay, but this app goes farther than that. And I'm going to go back to, now I joined Premium, just so you know. I think it's like $10 a year. And I thought, I really want to see what Premium can do. So I signed up for Premium. And just for example, it's a great way to stay in touch with your contact base, whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, email, whatever. For example, you can take a picture and say, reminder, right now we want you to know how important you are to us. And there can be a picture of your real estate team or just you or whatever. You can go back and, for example, I posted a couple of them on my own page last week One was about how much equity you have in your home now that we've seen the rise in home prices. And another one was about how much you might be able to afford with the low interest rates today. I also posted one here about a half an hour ago. And that one, I think Dom is also putting his video on here that he the introduction one. So yeah, mine was owning versus renting. I just put on there about a half an hour ago. Again, really helpful if you're going out and meeting with somebody who's renting now and says, I'd really like to buy something. I wonder how it's all going to compare. This is a really handy calculator for you to share with them. But you can also just do a random posting on your Facebook page. For example, this one, this home equity, what do you have in home equity now, is a great lead generating calculator because people may not realize how much difference the equity they have today versus 2008. It's like probably double or more. You can pull that up and send it out by text, email, Facebook, Twitter, all of them good options for you to stay in touch with your database. So I encourage you to get the premium just because when I opened it up, I thought, wow, there's really a lot of cool stuff I can send out and keep people posted. For example, there's one here that says Seller's Net Sheet. And the Seller Net Sheet one, again, you can post on your Facebook page, maybe your Facebook business page, as I have one. And it says, here, figure it out yourself. And when they're done figuring it out, maybe they'll call you and say, yeah, you know what? I've got a lot of equity in my home, and I do want to make a change, and come see me. So I think the premium is worth $10 a year. If you're going to get this, I think the premium is really the way to go. Oh, here's a one. I like this one. Stay there. Be right there. Why pay more in interest? A little goes a long way. Calculate how much your equity increases, how rapidly your equity increases if you make one extra payment per year. I think the calculation is if you make, on a 30-year loan, if you make one extra payment per year, you'll pay off your mortgage in about 19 and a half years. That's huge, especially for a young couple who wants to build equity fast. If you pay more than one, it obviously goes down even faster. So I think it's really this is a really powerful tool for you to stay in touch with your customers, to have a tool in your hand when you go out on a listing appointment or you're out showing houses to buyers and they say, okay, what's my cash to close? How much down payment? What are my closing costs if I buy this house? You can plug it right in there, and it's a really powerful, handy little tool. So, again, get the premium so you can do some branding and keep your clients aware of what you're up to. Any questions on that? Nothing. Okay. I did want to address one question that Penny posted on the Facebook Connect page. Do you provide your buyers with a copy of the title commitment? And thank you for asking the question, because the answer is yes. It's per the purchase agreement. You have to get it to them within 10 days. Now, again, that's the West Michigan Regional Purchase Agreement. And I believe it is pretty consistent throughout the state. So I don't know that's state law. I'll double check on that, but you do have to get it to them so that they can review it if you're using the West Michigan Regional Purchase Agreement within 10 days. Okay, there's still a lot of confusion, a little bit of housekeeping, not much today, but a little bit of housekeeping. Over the past several days, we've gotten a number of notices from the Grand Rapids and Wimlar, the GRAR and Wimlar in particular, about delayed submissions versus delayed showings and review of offers. There's a lot of confusion still, and so we have created a little diagram. Now, the diagram's not ready. We're going to try to make it a nice graphic. Design team's working on it. But I wanted to just review again. I know we've gone over it before. We did this in a live stream a few weeks ago. But again, there's still some confusion about it. So if you have a listing contract only, the listing has to go live within 1 day. You have to put it on based on the NAR rules. You have to put it on by the next business day. And that's for listings that are going to go live immediately and have presentation of offers as quickly as is reasonably possible. If multiple offers are received, and this is really important for everyone to understand, regardless of what market you're in, if multiple offers are received, the listing agent may call for highest and best and state a deadline for offers to be revised and submitted. So I know there's a lot of frustration out there by buyer's agents who submit an offer on Thursday and all of a sudden review of offers doesn't happen until Sunday. The seller is under no obligation whatsoever to review or respond to your offer within your time deadline. The only thing that it is required, the listing agent is required to do, is to present it. If the agent gets more than one offer, the seller can request that the agent tell everybody, give us your highest and best by noon on Saturday. We're going to review them Saturday night or Sunday morning, whatever it is, and we're going to have an answer on something, hopefully by Sunday night. Or they can say, you know what, we got 5 offers, we don't like any of them, and ignore them all. So in that particular case, the listing agent does not have the right to hold the offers until a later date for the seller's review without a delayed offers and showing addendum signed by the seller and stated in the marketing comments, the public view on the multiple listing. Again, unless they get multiple offers. So if you send one on Thursday and on Friday morning, the listing agent has 4 other offers, they have the right to come back and say, seller's not going to make a decision until they've had an opportunity to review all of the offers. And they may even say, we're going to have an open house on Sunday, and on this basis, I've sent the offers over to the seller. They've reviewed them. They had the opportunity to review them, but they're not going to make a decision until later. That's fully within the seller's right, as frustrating as it is. And believe me, I know. I showed 12 houses this weekend, and by the time the offers were reviewed, there were 5 of them. My offer came in second. It's a frustrating market out there. I get it. So the second option is the delayed submission form. It is a listing contract plus a delayed submission form. And the time that you use this is when a listing agent needs time to complete repairs, stage the home, have photos, videos, and so on edited before the listing goes live. It must be signed at the time of the listing contract, when the listing contract is signed, not later. They have to be signed on the same date. They also must have to specify the exact date that the listing will go live on the MLS. It might be a week, might be 10 days, might be 2 weeks. Generally not longer than that. It's really just to make sure that the house is ready for the market. The listing documents, including the delayed submission form, may be uploaded immediately or held to upload on the live date. Verify with your own multiple listing systems what their individual requirements are, because they are different. One thing that is consistent, however, is that in a delayed submission situation, there are no coming soon signs. There's no Facebook posts, no yard sign, no marketing whatsoever. Absolutely no showings. Zero. That is a delayed submission form. Here's the one they get confused with, because Grar and Wimlar have adopted, and I believe other MLS boards associations are going to adopt this as well as we go along. The listing contract plus a delayed offers / showing addendum. That addendum must accompany a new listing. Before, we used to simply be able to put on the listing contract, seller requests no showings before 1 o'clock on Sunday the 13th at 1, and all offers will be reviewed no earlier than Monday at 5 p.m., just for example. That language had to be on the listing contract signed by the seller and published on the MLS in the marketing comments, in the public-facing marketing comments. So, again, it had to be signed by the seller and at the same time as the listing contract. That has been created, there's an addendum been created now by Grar, for Grar and Wimlar. And that addendum is now required to accompany the listing contract. It's not enough to put the language in the listing contract. You have to submit the addendum, or the board is going to kick it back to you and ask you for that addendum. Again, it must be signed at the same time as the listing contract, and it must be uploaded within 1 calendar day from a fully executed contract. Must stipulate the exact date the seller will permit showings and or review offers, specifically month, day, year, and time. The delay is disclosed to cooperating brokers and buyers via the public listing comments, not in the agent comments, although I put it in both. It's okay, but it has to be in the public view so the public doesn't think there's something shady going on in the background. The delay applies to all listings, showings, or offers, including the showings and offers procured by the listing office. We don't get special privilege simply because we're the listing agent or the listing broker. That delay applies to everyone. Private showings may be delayed until after an open house, provided the open house is promoted on the MLS, and cooperating brokers are welcome to attend with their buyers. In this situation, with the addendum, the marketing is permitted, including yard signs, Facebook posts, open house announcements, mailers, whatever you want to do. Go out and stand on the street with a sandwich board. So again, it's really important that we understand the rules that we're playing with here. Because if we don't, and we don't accommodate the association when we send in a listing, then the likelihood is it's going to get kicked back, and we're going to end up you're going to end up filling it out anyway. So, hope that helps. I think that pretty much covers what we have for today. Any questions, Tom?
There were a few questions in the thread, but other people were answering them, so maybe afterwards you can just jump on.
Okay. I'll look at what you have to say, and again, thanks for joining, and I'll see you next week.